Hello everybody and welcome back to Analog Vernacular. Today we're going to be playing some more Rogue Trader and we are hopefully going to help the Versarians out of a little bit of a predicament. They are what appears to be a setup. They're being set up to take the fall for a bunch of the problems that are happening on our capital planet here, and we're going to fix it. So right now we're meeting with the Governor Drivistum, and we're trying to speak on behalf of the Versarians here. Okay, so let's just pick up. Drivistum, you aren't accusing one of Dargonus' leading noble houses of treason without airtight evidence, are you? Of course I have evidence, your lordship. The investigation has established that members of the Versarian family, which is responsible for both Dargonus' fleet and its logistics, used their contacts and influence to forge a host of documents in order to undermine the planet's supply routes and economy, thus fomenting unrest among the inhabitants. Allow me to introduce my son, Cornelius, who I'm sure is not coerced in any way to say something that's untrue. The governor points to the lanky young man standing beside him. He bows curtly, but avoids meeting your eye. Cornelius holds a prestigious position at the administrative palace, and it is thanks to him that we managed to identify and trace the entire chain of forged documents. That's too convenient, dude. And just by saying that, now I know you're involved. Like, I was thinking maybe it might just be the other two houses that were, like, colluding with each other. There was the one that particularly disliked us, and the other one that was kind of, like, on the fence, trying to be coaxed into the conspiracy. But, Drivistum, you are clearly a part of this. The investigation led us to the perpetrators who admitted to acting on the orders of members of House Versarian. It was they who were intent on spreading the idea of restoring the title of Rogue Trader to the true heir. So not only was it your own son who found it, but also through an intermediary who isn't a Versarian, claiming it was the Versarians. Okay, cool. So it's a secondary account from an unreliable... Yeah, okay. This young man is shrouded in a mist of gray and blue. Sickly shadows of fear are fluttering around him. Yeah, I bet. Cassia speaks so quietly that only you can hear her. Thank you, girl. Glad I brought her along. Not that I would leave my Mer goddess behind. I remind you that House Versarian has hardly covered itself in glory in the past. It allowed Xenos to attack the planet. Governor Drivistum throws a quick, arrogant glance at a red-faced Clementia. Alright, let's speak to the other heads of houses. Do you support the governor's accusations? The aristocrats in attendance exchange glances. The noble lords averting their gazes, and the noble ladies hiding behind the fans. No one is willing to be the first to answer. Okay, Sourback. Over his many years of service, Governor Drivistum earned Theodore's trust, and he holds his high office for a reason. Sourback's tone is stern and imperious. On behalf of House Sourback, I support his accusations. Regina Sourback. My apologies, your lordship, but I wish to speak too. Regina looks into your eyes with a tender half-smile, then turns her gaze on her husband. Of course, I agree with my husband. Governor Drivistum would not press charges against anyone if he were not absolutely certain of the authenticity of the evidence he had unearthed. Alright, Regina, are we gonna, like... I mean, I'll have to check with my Mer goddess to see if she's okay with this, but, like, are we gonna do this? Is this happening? Anyways, now is not the time. Now is not the time. Okay, back to the trial. My bad. I think anyone here would agree that anyone who ever doubts the authority of the Rogue Trader should be prosecuted. I am sure, your lordship, that you will eradicate the scourge of heresy from your domain. Regina bows to you deferentially while maintaining eye contact with you. Huh. Okay, Gaprack. Your lordship, Governor Drivistum has always faithfully served the rogue traders of House Valancius and concerned himself with the future of your trade dynasty, and so House Gaprack thinks his charges against House Versarian to be sound. The augmetics hide Toriana's emotion, but her voice sounds slightly timorous. There's no way that he has, like, dude, no. Like, the Versarians are, like, my best proponents. Drivistum does not stand above them when it comes to loyalty to the Rogue Trader. Like, fuck that. I humbly ask you to allow me to speak in defense of my family's honor. The evidence provided by the governor is utterly false. I cannot refute it, but I can say with confidence that no one from my family has ever tried to forge documents in the Adeptus Administratum, let alone undermine the economy of your capital. Okay, let's see. Sabotaging logistics, riots, conspiracy, the case appears to be flimsy. I wish to learn more before I make my final decision. As you wish, your lordship, the governor inclines his head in a stiff bow. Speak to me when you are ready to announce your verdict. Thank you for your willingness to help, Lord Captain. I am certain that all the charges are false, and I would be grateful for your help in exposing them as such. I think you should speak to everyone present, the noble lords and ladies. Indeed I should, and I will. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. Let's see if I am smart enough to do this. Figure it out. I mean, I am kind of stupid. Now what is this about? Let me go, my lord, I didn't see anything. You claim you knew nothing about the attack, is that right? I'll put that in your file when you end up on a penal world. The warden will be interested to read it. I don't even know why these people are being detained. Okay, Drivistum aristocrat. The governor holds his high office for a reason. His loyalty and service to the rogue trader are beyond doubt. Yeah, right. Alright. Urband, let's talk to you first. Governor Drivistum is surrounded by his retinue, who are all dressed in expensive gowns and finery. The matching color scheme of their outfits and the striking physical resemblance among them suggests that they all come from one family. Your lordship, thank you for giving this case your undivided attention. The governor bows and the rest hasten to follow suit. Okay, let's hear your reasoning again. What makes you think the Versarians are behind the plot against me? As soon as the logistical and economic problems gave rise to the initial rumors, we tried to find the person responsible for spreading the calls for Voigtvir's return. The investigation showed that some of the documents inside the Adeptus Administratum were forgeries. We can thank my son Cornelius for such astute observations. Your lordship, a slender young man bows to you awkwardly and nervously licks his dry lips. Dry because he's so nervous because he's a lying sack of shit. I assure you that my humble person is undeserving of your attention, you're damn right. Cornelius holds a prestigious position at the Administratum Palace, and it was he who discovered the errors leading to the disrupted logistics. It is also thanks to him that we found the perpetrators of the forgeries, who admitted to acting on the orders of House Versarian, probably under coercion. And what do you make of this letter? I found it on one of the assailants. Drivistum peers closely at the bloodstained paper. Looks like another piece of evidence incriminating House Versarian. Perhaps they truly did intend to kill you, or at least cause a stir to help them escape custody during the confusion that followed. And tell me more about your son Drivistum. Thank you for your interest, your lordship, but I am not worthy of it. The governor's son bows and stands still as he nervously stares down at the floor. Son, show due respect. Forgive him, your lordship. This is the first time he has had the honor of attracting the attention of the rogue trader. Heinrichs narrows his eyes and, glancing at you, shakes his head. Yeah, man. Heinrichs, do you want to, take each of these people into a dark room for a minute and see what you can see? Tell me more about your job, Cornelius. What do you do? I manage the documents and records related to the economy of Dargonus. You probably know how scrupulous the workers of the Adeptus Administratum are. I am afraid that a more detailed explanation of my duties would mirror the administrative processes of the Administratum, too long and overly detailed. Cornelius tries to look you in the eye, but it is clearly hard for him to do. And how did you manage to find the forged documents in the bureaucratic hell that is the Administratum? When compiling reports on last cycle's supply chain, I noticed inaccuracies and discrepancies in the figures. With the help of the other clerks, I managed to find several other documents. Cornelius stammers and swallows noisily. Comprehensive data analysis has shown that the discrepancies were caused by intentional tampering with the data, thus leading to some logistical problems that were practically unsolvable. Father and I have managed to single out the Administratum... Hold on, what? This is the governor talking now, isn't it? I think that's a mistake. I think it's still the son. Father and I have managed to single out the Administratum clerks responsible for tampering with the data. Following a heated interrogation, they confessed that they were... Heated. Yeah, you hear that? That they were following the orders of someone from House Versarian. Everything was supposed to look as though they were the ones suffering losses from the logistical and economic problems. Does House Versarian have access to the Adeptus Administratum? There is no conceivable way they could do all of this in place where they do not hold any power. Before replying, the governor's son nervously adjusts his expensive frock coat. I think the right amount of money can open any door. They're not a rich house. They're not a wealthy house. Dude, this is such a flimsy story. Cornelius, what is the true reason for your nervousness? The young man's pupils suddenly dilate. He stands at attention and replies to you in one breath. This is the first time I have spoken face to face with the rogue trader. I'm afraid of saying something wrong or forgetting something important. The governor closely watches his son. His tone changes, now sounding strict and curt. Do you wish to tell the Lord Captain anything else? Dude, 100%, bro. Oh, do we do it? It's really cold, but like, we know these guys are lying. Place your hand on your weapon. You are speaking to a rogue trader, and my patience is running out, son. You see the flash of terror in Cornelius's eyes as he stares at your hand on your weapon. He speaks quietly and confusedly without raising his head. Forgive me, your lordship. I can't do it anymore. This lie has gone too far, and I can no longer control it. The truth is that all of the logistical problems were caused by a single error in the numbers. My mistake. What? Urban looks genuinely shocked and enraged. When I discovered my mistake, it was almost impossible to restore the supply lines. Then I was approached by someone who said they were a friend. They did not give me their name, and I never saw their face. They promised to fix the problem. All I had to do was pretend that the Versarians were responsible for the mistake. And as for the rest of the evidence, they promised to arrange it all, and... He is suffocating with fear, unable to speak. Urban curls his hand into fists, the knuckles turning white. What have you done? How could you? Your lordship... He suddenly turns to you as if trying to shield his son. This is my fault. I trusted my son and have failed you in doing so. I beg you to have mercy. Abelard shakes his head. And you called my family's honor into question, Urban? Nevertheless, I harbor no desire to kick a man when he is down. Lord Captain, the confession you have obtained means that House Versarian can now be cleared of all charges. But we still do not know who was behind the forgeries, the riots, the plot, and the assassination attempt. Someone is committing their foul deeds and sowing chaos right under your subjects' noses. To leave that stone unturned would be dangerous. Okay. What is this friend that approached you, Cornelius? How did the two of you communicate? By letter. I received a letter out of the blue one day. It was unsigned, but the person writing already knew about my erroneous calculations. They offered to help me cover up my misdeed, and in return I would name the Versarians as the ones who had sabotaged the supply lines. All I had to do was gather together some documents and reports that were listed in one of the letters. That and keep my mouth shut. I kind of want to put him to death. I wish there was one in the middle. Have him, like, serve in a penal colony or something. I want a middle ground here. Or I don't let him off, because I really don't like Urband. Or, Drivistum. But I don't really want to kill this kid, either. Huh. Damn. I really want something in the middle, where we're not outright sentencing him to death, but like, send him to Vibos, bro. You know? Urban, your son has found the courage to admit his mistake. I will try and find some compassion for him in my heart. Thank you, your lordship. The governor bows low, then gives his son a look full of bitterness and frustration. He's not the worst of the nobles here, so like, maybe not pissing him off is better for us right now. Like, I don't think that I'd be as forgiving to some of the other houses. And as for your position, I think you will be reassigned to a role requiring less responsibility. Okay. Alright. One part of the puzzle discovered. So it's probably Sourback. Sourback is, I think, the house that hates us the most. Gaprak was kind of more in the middle, were they not? Okay, let's talk to the Versarians here. Our people. As you draw closer, the wardens step aside, bowing respectfully, allowing you to approach the Versarian family. Clementia, tired and slightly disheveled, is the first to bow her head to you in deference. Several men and women behind her follow suit. Your lordship, the woman stammers as if lost for words. Accept my most humble apologies for failing to greet you properly, and my thanks for agreeing to speak to me before making your final decision. The charges brought by the governor are severe, but I can only assure you of this and swear on my own honor, we are not guilty of the crimes the House Versarian is being accused of. Clementia. A hint of sorrow creeps into Abelard's voice, belying his stern facade. You were acting head of this family. You were supposed to take care of each and every family member. And now you are being accused of treason and collusion against the rogue traitor, and the entire family is facing death. How could you let this happen? This isn't her fault, this is like a whole bunch of big houses colluding against a weaker family. I don't blame her at all. I found this letter on one of the bodies of the heretics. Who planned the attack? What can you tell me about it? While Clementia reads the letter, the Versarians behind her read it over her shoulder. Your lordship, let us be frank. It would be foolish of me to try and orchestrate something like this, knowing how many wardens are patrolling your palace. I would not have let myself or anyone in my family get involved in such a scheme. I totally believe her. Okay, if you are not guilty, who is? Who stands to gain from framing you? Anyone, really? Clementia replies with a bitter laugh. The other houses consider us unworthy of our position, and many would jump at the chance to get rid of us and gain control over what once was our domain. The planet's fleet and logistics at the very least. Lady Theodora chose to grant noble status to House Versarian, but the other houses, which have served in the Expanse for millennia, did not welcome the decision. It has led to some difficulties. Okay, the governor claims that you forged documents in the Administratum. We already know that's not true, but we'll go through what she has to say. The fleet is the primary remit of House Versarian. It is our responsibility. Logistics and supply routes are another area of our responsibility. We have no direct influence on the inner workings of the Adeptus Administratum. The first large-scale deliveries were cancelled after quantities of food were miscalculated by clerks in the Administratum. Then we were faced with incorrect weather data and a meager fuel budget. It was clear that the cause of all these problems was the calculations performed in the Administratum. In one way or another, but no matter how many times we asked, we could not ever obtain any clarification on the matter. Okay, where do you think I should start to find the masterminds behind this? I am afraid I cannot be of much help. Talk to the representatives of other houses, eavesdrop on their retinue, and perhaps you will hear something unusual. Okay. Your lordship, these accusations against my family simply make no sense. I humbly beseech you to speak with Clementia. Don't worry, I believe you, Astardia.
I always keep my options open.
Okay, can't interact with any of them. Okay, Sourbacks. Regina girl. We gonna flirt again? Let's talk to the Gapracks first. If I'm remembering correctly, they were a little bit more in our camp. At least they seem to be more in the middle. The Sourbacks definitely were not, if I'm remembering correctly. But the Gapracks were somewhere in the middle, and I could see them going either direction right now. The lords and ladies, sumptuously dressed in the colors of House Gaprack, are standing in a half-circle around Toriana and her son Vincent. The bodies and faces of almost every member of this dynasty are covered in large, ornate augmetics. Toriana Gaprack curtsies to you. Her mechanical voice sounds distant and indifferent. Greetings, your lordship. May the Omnissiah grant you understanding. With a click, her visor ocular swivel to the seneschal. Abelard, it must be difficult for you to be here under these circumstances, with your house standing accused of such a grave crime. My family, Lady Toriana, is yet to be found guilty of anything. That verdict is for the rogue traitor to reach. Okay, do you think the accusations against the Versarian family are true? I would not take such a responsibility upon myself and rule on their guilt, your lordship. I do think Governor Drivestum's accusations are worthy of consideration, however. Okay, in your opinion, which nobles might have a reason to part to be party to such a conspiracy. She thinks for several moments before replying. Pardon my bluntness, your lordship, but I will answer truthfully. It could be anyone. Greed, fear, and ideals can drive even the most loyal subjects to do the unthinkable. Any thoughts on this note? Her mechanical fingers grip the paper. Officially, high-functioning servitors are employed by my house and my house alone. If such units were to attack the rogue trader, suspicion could instantly fall upon the Capraks. I assume that this is what the Versarians intended to happen, but they did not expect that the servitors would have this letter on them. Those were real people. There was nothing in there that said that they were servitors, right? They were people dressed up as nobles. Huh. Maybe I missed the fact that they were servitors? Okay, Vincent, I wish to speak to you. Ooh, by ourselves, huh? This guy, I'm trying to remember. Didn't he have like a little crush on, the Versarian girl? Not Clementia, but the other one that I just forgot her name, Astardia? So, like, he might tell us something here. Ready to serve, your lordship. How may I help you? What do you make of the charges against the Versarian family? Could they truly be guilty? I do not think I can doubt the validity of the accusations, but... His voice trails off and he seems to retreat into himself for a moment. Before continuing, he takes a deep breath. I am also not sure that House Versarian had a reason to betray you, your lordship. I do not know of any instance where their loyalty to you and the Emperor was anything less than unwavering. I know, me too, right? I know that you care for Astardia Versarian. Are you prepared to watch her die? Vincent's jaw augmetic screeches slightly. The young man scrutinizes his mother and other family members for a few moments. There is something you ought to know, your lordship. Oh, here we go. Vincent, my man. I know I keep saying Vincent with an N, and I'm gonna probably continue to do that. You're just gonna have to get over it. It's close enough to Vincent. Today I noticed one of my family members to be in an odd, uncharacteristic mood. Helen Gaprak is my paternal second cousin once removed. May the Emperor save his soul. Usually reserved and self-possessed, today he was frantic and anxious, fidgeting with a small piece of paper and seemingly looking for someone to no avail. When I last saw him, he was headed to the entrance hall, where the altars are. Perhaps you should talk to him. Okay. Okay. Good man, Vincent. Good man. That will be all. Good man, Vincent. You're gonna save your girlfriend's life. The Versarians are good people, and you seem like a good person too. I hope I don't have to kill anybody in your family. Okay, here he is. I'm coming for you, Galen. What you up to, bro? A finely dressed man of middle years is kneeling in front of the altar, his palms folded in prayer close to his face. The implant-free parts of his skin are a sickly blue color. The nobleman does not react to your presence. He does not lift his head. He does not blink. He does not even breathe. Only when you draw closer do you realize that he is dead. Oh, the plot thickens! Dude, I'm really liking this quest right now. There's a lot of reading. I'm gonna lose my voice by the end of it, but I'm enjoying this. Abelard looks at the man, his eyes grim. The colors of House Gaprak. I do not believe he decided to take his own life in such an extravagant way. As far as I know, there is a warden post here, but I do not see any wardens. The seneschal looks around. There is no one to ask about what happened here, or with whom this man spoke before he died. I would like to ask Urban where the palace guard suddenly disappeared to. Heinrich leans towards the dead man. A familiar sight. There are poisons that rapidly damage the nervous system, causing paralytic spasms throughout the body. Once injected, the victims usually suffocate slowly and painfully, unable to call for help. Okay, 72's not bad. Yes, thank you, girl. There are no visible wounds on the body, but near the edge of the gold-trimmed collar, you notice a tiny puncture in his blue skin, likely a wound caused by a thin needle. Search the pockets. You discovered a secret pocket in the lining of the dead man's luxurious jacket. You find a folded piece of paper inside, hiding behind a handkerchief embroidered with the initials HG. And his name was that's him, right? Crap, can't read it yet. Okay. Look around. You are almost certain that wardens are usually stationed nearby, but their post is empty. Where have they gone? This would be an excellent question to put to Governor Driveston. Yeah, his name started with an H and was Gaprak, so HG is him. Make sure that the rogue trader is attacked by someone loyal. It should appear as if it was all staged to let the Versarian family escape. This is the last assignment. Soon your debt will be paid off in full. Yeah, I think it's the Sourbacks, and they may have had something on either the Gapraks as a family, or maybe just this Gaprak. But I think it's probably the Sourbacks. I kind of want Driveston to be involved so that I can put him to death. I don't like the guy.
A backup plan.
Can we make the next governor freaking Clementia? How about that? Alright, dude. Why did the guard get sent away, huh? Can I really not ask him about it? They specifically told me to ask him about this. Maybe once we summon everybody, we can address it. Weird. That's a weird way to do it, to like specifically say, hey, go and ask the governor about this. I hope that's not like a bug. If it is, that's going to be frustrating. That like we can't do it because we already talked to him. Before bowing, Sourback scrutinizes you with a bitter, judgmental look. Your lordship? Hetka Sourback, looking like a younger copy of his father, stands at a slight distance close to his mother. An expensive yet understated dress serves to highlight the dazzling beauty of Macarius' wife, Regina Sourback. Oh, it's gonna happen, baby. Macarius Sourback stares at your Liet, and revulsion flickers across his face. Your lordship, I am delighted that you have chosen to grace us with your attention. She drops into a curtsy while looking intently into your eyes. Here we go again. Here we go again. Kiss Regina's hand. I am honored, Lady Sourback. Noticing your gesture, Regina readily extends her delicate hand, her nails long and manicured. Why, how kind of you to say, your lordship. Burning eyes fixed on you, Sourback straightens and leans forward, trying to partially occupy the space between you and his wife. 100%. Oh my god, this is why I love having a main character persuasion. Okay, set against the doom and gloom of current events and your husband's dour family, you look especially dazzling today, Regina. Alright, we're still in your wife again. How do you feel about this? A flirtatious spark flares in the beautiful lady's eyes. Really, your lordship, I'm glad to hear this from the rogue trader, especially today. Macarius almost barks, each word striking like a hammer strikes metal. Regina, step away from his lordship. Regina's high voice almost breaks into a shriek. She interrupts her husband, retorting defiantly and disobediently. Oh, throne preserve you, Macarius. Stop being so jealous and making a scene over nothing. Just because a crude blockhead like you lacks the refinement and courtesy of analog vernacular von Valancius. Shit, dude. I love this. Regina's voice drops to a whisper so that only you can hear her. His bile poisons the air around him wherever he goes. Once he gets something into his head, he hairs off to remove the heads of others just to prove that he is in the right. Damn. Damn, you just, like, in front of your entire family, you were just getting roasted, Macarius. Do you really believe the Versarians are guilty? Certainly, Sourback replies without hesitation. Governor Driveston possesses proof of their guilt, and they have no means by which to refute it. Even if I were to entertain the idea that the Versarians are being framed, how much longer would their houses have lasted anyway? If it is so ill-prepared for treachery. He addresses Abelard with a slightly mocking tone. My advice to House Versarian would be not to appeal to the rogue trader for help, but instead to simply stop, accept their fate, and not make matters worse for themselves. I cannot remember analog vernacular von Valancius seeking your advice on what House Versarian should do in this situation. Pay attention, Macarius. Focus on the rogue trader's questions. Okay, who apart from the Versarians could have a motive to conspire against me? House Driveston wishing to expand their clout, House Gaprak who lost their influence after the Kiava Gamma incident. Sourback looks back at his family, then turns to you again. House Sourback, whose patriarch is too direct in his communication with the rogue trader. Anyone could have a reason to conspire against you, and equally, they could have none. It is not a question of motive, but of loyalty. Each of your subjects has sworn an oath of loyalty to you, so whose sincerity do you doubt? I mean, he's being pretty straightforward with us here. It's like making me second guess, like it might just be the Gapraks, but I don't know. I feel like all three houses could be involved in some way. 55 is not the best. Look closely at Macarius. Oh, we got it, okay. Despite Sourback's attempts to suppress his revulsion, the presence of inhumans in your retinue undoubtedly reflects his fervent desire to eliminate the enemies of humanity. Do my companions distress you, Sourback? Sourback's face turns red, his furious gaze trained upon you. Free-flowing rage boils in every word he says. The rogue traitor is the chosen servant of the Emperor and one of humanity's best. By surrounding yourself with depraved Xenos who scorn the very exceptionalism of humankind, you teeter on the brink of heresy, and no privilege granted by the Emperor can blind others to that fact. The thought of existing in the same sector as Xenos is revolting, but their presence in your retinue here in the capital city of the Von Valancius trade dynasty enrages me. To have Xenos sullying the streets of this planet after what we endured, and under the protection of the rogue traitor no less. Sourback takes a deep breath and exhales noisily. His rage subsides, but his burning gaze remains fixed on you. I'm starting to think that, like, if he would be trying to keep things a little bit more under control if he was involved, wouldn't he? So I'm starting to think it might not be him. With a pained and distressed expression, Regina glances at her husband, her hands worrying the ruffles on her dress. Your unveiled hatred for me is so obvious, Sourback, it is grounds enough to charge you with heresy. I am hearing this from you, the Emperor's servant who flouts all that is sacred, the person who seems to think the laws of the Imperium are meaningless. Macarius, now is a time when you would do well to stop and not make matters worse for yourself. I discovered a dead body in my palace. A man of House Gaprak was killed while praying to the Emperor. He had this note on him. Do you know anything about it? Macarius looks at the note, without taking it from your hands, and replies without hesitation. No, I know nothing about this note. Okay. The lords and ladies. Toriana Gaprak curtsies to you. Her mechanical voice sounds distant and different. May the Omnisci grant you understanding. With a click, her visor ocular swivel to the Seneschal. Abelard, it must be difficult for you to be here. Is that the same dialogue? My family, Lady Toriana, is yet to be found guilty. Yes, it is. I discovered a dead body, a member of your house, right here in my palace. He died, kneeling in prayer. Toriana covers her open mouth with her hand, in surprise, and turning to her family, looks for someone among them. Halen, it can't be. Tell me about him, Toriana. Halen is one of the lower-ranking members of House Gaprak. Despite his advanced age, he never held high office, but he was forever striving to better his position. Even beyond his abilities, many members of my house struggled to cope with the misfortune that befell Kiava Gamma and our family. Some members could not reconcile themselves to our new position. Halen was one of them. What could have happened to him? Her visor oculars are fixed on the floor, her fingers restlessly clenching in the fabric of her dress. Toriana, the time to keep silent is long gone. The future of the Von Valancius trade dynasty and your house are both at stake now. We lost Kiava Gamma, a truly devastating blow to every member of House Gaprak. I lost all hope for the future and my kin lost their sense of purpose. We needed time to recover and chart a new course for ourselves. We were, and still are, more than capable of doing that. But I will not deny it, the other houses have offered us their assistance. For their own self-serving ends, perhaps Halen decided to take them up on one of their offers behind my back. The Seneschal bows ever so slightly and speaks quietly so that only you can hear him. Lord Captain, the Gapraks, All, or perhaps only some of them, are definitely involved, but I suspect that they were not behind the plot against you. Halen Gaprak could be nothing more than a puppet in the hands of a deft puppet master. We must expose whoever that is if we are to prevent the pestilence of heresy from spreading any further. What do you suggest we do? You already have grounds to suspect House Sourback of the conspiracy and orchestrating the attempt on your life. Governor Drivistum's decision to unjustly accuse House Versarion also cast doubt on his competence. Tell him that you are ready to pronounce your verdict, but before you do so, I suggest focusing on each house in your indictment speech, and I shall observe them. I have known those people far longer than you have. I know all their gestures, habits, and behavioral quirks. I am sure that I will be able to determine which of them was responsible for the riots based on their behavior. Okay. I think this is implying that we have the information that we need. It's telling us pretty clearly to move forward with the investigation. Is this the one we're working on? No, that's Nomo's stuff. Okay, blood ties. That's the one we're working on. Okay. I might make a hard save before doing this, just to be safe. Let's maybe just take a once walk around, looking at everybody, talking to everybody. We'll check out there again, see if there's anybody else we need to talk to out there. I found a dead body in my palace. A member of House Gaprak was slain in front of an altar. Do you know anything about it? A member of House Gaprak was killed in the palace? The governor's eyes bulge in surprise. And no one noticed. But how? There are wardens posted at every altar. There was no one near the deceased. The wardens had left their post. Did you order them to do so? Emperor forbid, your lordship. The governor helplessly throws his hands up in the air as if to signify his powerlessness. Your negligence is stunning, Urban. An assassination attempt followed by a mysterious death, and yet here you are, oblivious to everything. The rogue traitor can justly accuse you of allowing a noble to be killed in the palace, and of failing even to notice it. It may be so, but it is for the rogue traitor to accuse me of negligence, not you. The governor addresses you once more. Your lordship, accept my deepest apologies for my imprudence. Nothing matters more to me than my honor. I shall send the servants to deal with all of this immediately. Did you see Macarius Auerbach today before I arrived? Macarius? I did not see him myself, but perhaps. The governor turns around and asks his family. Have any of you seen him today? The nobles talk quietly among themselves, and then a middle-aged woman with a tall, extravagant hairstyle replies to you. I think my sister and I saw him sitting on the bench some distance away from the palace's entrance. We think he was accompanied by a gentleman, but forgive us, your lordship, we could not make out his face. Okay, there is more information. Lead me to that place. Of course, consider it done. I saw Lord Sourback conversing with someone here, your lordship.
Not dawdle.
My house would be proud of me.
I recognize this bouquet. House Sourback usually serves this wine. Okay. I discovered the body of Halen Gaprak here in this palace. He had this note on him. Do you know anything about it? The younger members of the Versarion family crowd around to examine the note in Clementia's hands. All present are beset with worry and bewilderment. I'm not sure if it is relevant, but perhaps you should know. Since the fall of Kiavagama, House Gaprak has been faring poorly, to say the least. They have been looking for ways to enhance their influence and to improve their lot, including asking for help from the other noble houses. They have not approached us, of course. It is shameful to seek help from those you consider your inferiors. You understand. But perhaps the Drivistums or the Sourbacks can tell you more about this matter. I refuse to ask her if she's guilty, when we know they're not.
I always keep my
I will not
options
click on
open.
that dialogue.
Always keep your eye on the prize. Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Oh, what's this? Your lordship, are you leaving already? But everyone is waiting so eagerly for your verdict. Speak to Governor Driveston before leaving. You got it, buddy. I wasn't actually gonna leave.
Keep your wits about you.
Oh, look, he's alive again. It's a miracle. Okay, I think we're gonna move forward. Summon everyone. I am ready to pronounce my verdict. Governor Driveston tensely bows and replies without hesitation. Understood, your lordship. Allow me to prepare everything. Many faces are watching you, each and every one awaiting the rogue trader's verdict with bated breath. The charges brought by Governor Driveston were fabricated. House Valancius had nothing to do with the orchestration of the riots or the plot targeting the rogue trader. However, the real perpetrators are here, in this very room. The Seneschal nods to you as if urging you to continue, then shifts his piercing gaze to the crowd before you. Oh, girl, your awareness is going to be so good here. Are any of these less than 100%? They're pretty easy checks, actually, so they only have a -10. Which, that means it's easier, right? So it's like a... Yeah. The higher that minus is, the more difficult it becomes. So, like, our check is like, we got 142% because of the -10, right? Okay. Urban Drivestem, you have exhibited inexcusable negligence by failing to question the possible involvement of any other family besides the Valancians. We have discovered that the attempt on my life was orchestrated by a member of House Gaprak. The governor closes his eyes, fear and shame getting the better of him. Some faces in the crowd look confused and surprised, but you see more wearing expressions of self-satisfied contempt. Abelard looks from the governor to you and subtly shakes his head, as if to say, no, it's not Drivestem pulling the strings here. Urban Drivestem, you have accused House Valancius of violations that were in truth the result of a grave error committed by your son. Yep, closes his eyes, fear and shame. Some faces in the crowd look confused, self-satisfied contempt. Toriana Gaprak, a member of your family, orchestrated an assassination attempt against me, here in my own palace, and though he has already been found dead, his act is reason enough to forever brand your house as traitors. Mocking whispers creep through the crowd. Toriana is trembling faintly. She still does not raise her head, perhaps out of fear of meeting her fate face to face. The Seneschal's hard gaze softens. An elusive gesture, visible only to you, conveys the message. Toriana Gaprak is guilty only of her own poor judgment. Macaria Sourback, your overt contempt towards me is reason enough to implicate you in the conspiracy. The crowd remains silent with only their tense, anxious gazes darting back and forth between you and Macarius. Sourback's brows rise higher and you notice his jaw working nervously. Abelard narrows his eyes and scrutinizes Macaria Sourback and his retinue standing behind him. For a second, his sharp eyes seem to have caught sight of something, only to lose track of it the next moment. A disappointing sigh tells you it could be a Sourback, but is he really the one behind all of this? It's gonna turn out to be Regina somehow, isn't it? Oh no. I know that House Sourback offered their help to the Gapraks, and the late Halen Gaprak seemed to have accepted the offer. I suspect that you are responsible for his death as well. Sourback furrows his brow, yep. Restless movements. Abelard narrows his eyes and scrutinizes. His sharp eyes light up when he catches sight of something important and hidden in the crowd. The Seneschal looks at you and nods as if to say, the puppeteer has given himself away, pronounce the verdict. In the conspiracy against the rogue trader, I find... The air in the room is frozen with a tense, almost electrified silence. All the nobles, some with fear and others with reverent anticipation, await your verdict. So we're just, yeah. we let the Seneschal take it from here, and he's gonna tell us that it's like Regina. I'm trying to think back to that conversation. She, like, hates her husband. Maybe, yeah, I don't know, but it might be her. I think it might be her. Yep, we know it's House Sourback, but we don't know specifically which person, so we're gonna let Abelard pull the trigger. House Sourback is guilty. Seneschal, you may take it from here. Abelard steps forward and stares intently at House Sourback's patriarch. Macarius, I must admit I have always admired your bluntness, but just as I once had to say goodbye to a promotion because of my dislike for intrigue, you and your family might soon say goodbye to your heads. Tell me now in your blunt fashion, are you loyal to House Valancius? Sourback narrows his eyes, grimacing. I am loyal, Versarian. He studies Sourback, then suddenly nods. You are not lying, but someone else is, someone who is poised to destroy both you and your family for her own gain. Damn it, Regina. We could have been something. We could have been something. Oh, Regina. You could have joined me and the Fish Queen. Macarius does not have time to respond. Regina, who is standing beside him, raises her arm as if to slap the elderly Seneschal. Abelard deftly catches her wrist, stopping her hand right in front of his face. Her dainty hand is adorned with a massive augmetic ring, topped with a thin spike dripping with venom. Jesus. Sourback shifts his confused gaze from his wife to Abelard, then back again. The stiff arrogance has vanished from his posture. Regina, you... Hetka? Mother? Upon realizing what has happened, Hetka recoils from his mother. Macarius, your bluntness makes you an open book. When I talked about helping the Gapraks, you had no idea that what I was referring to. Your wife, on the other hand, her eyes started shifting, like you would not believe. Regina Sourback, you alone betrayed the rogue trader, jeopardizing the prosperity of the von Valancius trade dynasty, and you alone are responsible for your unmasking. Regina, we had something, why would you do this? Like the spike on her ring, Regina's words are dripping with poison and rage. Because Dargonus is serving an imposter. The true heir of the Protectorate bears a different name. Oh, she was faking it the whole time. Oh, I fell for her honey trap. When Kunrad appeared on Dargonus, he paid me a visit and opened my eyes to the truth of the situation. Theodora was killed by the one whom she had so unwarily taken under her wing. Macarius is too narrow-minded to even consider opposing the rogue trader, even an illegitimate one, so I had to wait for the right moment, and the disappearance of the Lord Captain could not have come at a better time. She was flirting with us so she could get close to us, and then she was going to kill us with that ring. It was quite simple to trigger a chain of events at Dargonus so that the people remembered Master Voidfear's past service. It seems that many of your subjects do not actually consider you a worthy successor. Why the Versarians? Because when stripped of the Seneschal's protections, this house is the weakest one of all of Dargonus, and they are also particularly disliked by the governor's family. It would have been easy to bury the Versarians under accusations of heresy. Who aided you? There is no way you managed all of this on your own. Oh, of course I did, and I have too many helpers to list them all. But rest assured there are plenty of them, just as there are plenty of people who follow Master Voidfear. My death will not change anything. The true rogue trader will come and take his rightful place when the time is right. Why did you kill Halen Gaprak? Halen was a good agent, but he was also a coward. He came to me just before our formidable rogue trader arrived. He was ready to confess everything. I suggested that he plead for the Emperor's forgiveness first, and he did grant him mercy, did he not? There's actually a line for this. I thought there could have been something special between us, Regina. She cocks her head and smiles at you, just as sweetly as before. I admit I had my regrets about causing you such difficulties, but what was I to do? Duty calls for us to rein in our most genuine desires, isn't that right, rogue trader? Oh, so she was interested. Abelard, the sentence has yet to be carried out. Finish this. Abelard turns his gaze to you. Does the rogue trader condemn only the rotten apple or the entire barrel? God, I really hate the Sourbacks, but I think we're just gonna do her. In some ways, it can be good to have somebody who will be blunt and straightforward with the way they feel about you. I'm not going to trust the Sourback still, but I'm not going to take out their entire family as much as I kind of want to. Oh, man. How do I... Can I put the Versarians above them in honor? I mean, I think that their house probably loses honor with this anyway in the eyes of, like, the nobles, so... I will not exterminate entire noble line that is loyal to me, just because of one traitor. In that case, Regina Sourback shall be subjected to intense interrogation followed by execution. The traitor's ring. We get her poison ring? Cool. Damn, girl. I thought it was gonna happen. I thought it was happening. You, me, my mer goddess. What could have been, girl? Throw it away. For who? Kunrad Voidveer? Come on, man. Come on. By order of the rogue trader, Regina Sourback is sentenced to death for heresy and crimes against the Von Valancius trade dynasty. What is going on with the crowd? Oh no, chaos is taking over. Oh, is she supposed to be there? I think that's her on the floor. Oh geez, that's brutal. They got her so good she fell off the table. Sorry, Regina. When the nobles disperse, sated by the bloody performance, Abelard approaches you, his steps firm. Lord Captain, you have my thanks. A rogue trader should not waste time on the matters of his servants and trustees that his servants and trustees can resolve. But in this case, your intervention was necessary, not just for the sake of my family, but for your trade dynasty as well. Regina Sourback, evidently Kunrad's accomplices, continue to plot against your protectorate. I fear we have not heard the last of such scoundrels. Thanks to you, Lord Captain, House Versarian is saved, although it came close to being wiped out as a result of the scheming without and imprudence within. He pauses for a moment, staring off into the distance. Sometimes I think about how much I could teach them. I could ensure that they survive in the future without me. What are you going to do now? I need time to reflect upon what happened and the role I played in it. I think I will be ready to resume this conversation later, when we are back on board the ship. He bows to you deferentially and turns away, lost in thought. I really like this quest. It's kind of wild how much I've enjoyed like the political stuff here in the capital. Like, I guarantee there are some people who hated going through all that political stuff when we had our little celebration when we officially became the rogue trader, and then probably hated this quest too. But I really have enjoyed both of those moments. How you doing, girl? Don't want to talk about it? That's fine. Glad to have you back, girl. Okay. Who you talking to over here? Your boy Achilles is gone, bro. Alright. Seems like the dialogues are pretty much the same. So, with that being the case, I guess we're done here, yeah? What a quest that was. That was awesome. Okay, what was the name of that quest again? Blood Ties? Okay, I'm gonna want that for the name of this episode, so cool. Let's see if we can go and talk to Versarion real quick. Any chance in this game that we have the option to give the Versarions more power in our protectorate, I'm doing it.
Lord Captain, allow me to express my gratitude once again for your assistance. If it weren't for your intervention, my entire family could have been executed on false charges. I could have lost them all. I never imagined the Versarions would be so vulnerable while I serve as seneschal to the Lord Captain himself, far from home. To tell you the truth, Lord Captain, this whole situation has got me thinking. As patriarch of the Versarion family, I have a responsibility to my bloodline. Yes, it is my duty to serve as seneschal to the rogue trader, and I have no intention of relinquishing that role if you find my service as satisfactory as did Lady Theodora. However, if I could be more involved in my family's affairs and still serve the von Valancius dynasty.
I understand your desire. Traditions and old ways must change. I will allow you to return to Dargonus after the immediate crisis in the Expanse is past.
Thank you, Lord Captain. Under my watch, the Trade Protectorate will remain safe and prosper in service to you. Well then, Lord Captain, it is time I return to my duties. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Right, very cool. That honestly might be the last of his, quest line in the game.
Lord Captain.
That was awesome. I really liked that mission. A lot. This seems like a good place to end, so thank you all for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.
I'd like to give a very special shout out to my patron supporters: Darren York, ZTD, Knife Namaste, Kyle the Monarch, Chris Murphy, JW, Quinless, Vlado101, Andy Ford, Bruce Wizzle, Black Mamba 90, Eureka Gecko, A Happy Fat Panda, Turkeyfoot 27, Pedo Kuto, Shadow Raven, Hannah Kate the Great, The Blue Electric Cat, Emily Kuzanoa, Philip Dougherty, and Nadia N. If you would also like to join this tier or any others, check out my memberships or my Patreon in the description down below.